What does your one say? 959, same as this one.
Yep. I used to be able to money left over.
They should have a big clock.
Tiger King.
Up with there somewhere. So we would have it to
I watched
use.
the news out of Phoenix last night.
You read 10? All right.
What happened to all this stuff?
I call the May 11th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. The automated announcement message, please.
Anyone who has not signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete a request to speak form, which is also located on the lobby table next to the sign-in sheet. A request to speak form must be completed for each item you would like to speak on. Please note, there are stairs on the right, left, and center aisles, and we ask that you use caution when using the stairs. There is also a ramp located to the audience's left. If anyone has written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, or letters they intend to present at today's meeting, have 17 copies and give them to a staff member at the back of the auditorium. Staff member, please hold up your hand for the audience. If you do not have 17 copies, you may use the overhead camera to present your documents. Please place your documents on the podium and line it up with the arrows indicated. If you want your documentation to go on record, you must hand them to the clerk after your presentation with the agenda item number clearly marked on the documentation. Members of the public cannot speak to staff members that are seated at the tables with microphones during the meeting. If you have questions, please see the staff member located in the back of the auditorium. All speakers will be limited to 2 minutes to make their presentation statements. Everyone, please turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must take a call, please leave the meeting area and go outside to have your conversation. We also ask the audience to refrain from talking with one another during the presentations and discussions. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking is allowed from curb to curb. No food or drinks are allowed in the auditorium except for bottled water. If there are any items remaining on the agenda, the Commission will break for lunch for 1 hour per the Chairman's discretion.
Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Jacks.
Here.
Commissioner Barlow.
Here.
Commissioner Kelly.
Here.
Commissioner Hassett.
Here.
Commissioner Meal.
Here.
Commissioner Martin. Here. Commissioner Abbott.
Here.
Commissioner Alexander. Commissioner Morris.
Here.
And Chairperson Gillette.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The minutes of the April 13th meeting has been continued to the June 6th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Due to the interest in this item, the Commission will hear item 13 first. Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 13 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of Assessor's Parcel number 354-18006 from an AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to a CRE 36A commercial recreation 36-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for an exotic animal facility in the Cedar Hills vicinity. Staff has received 27 letters of opposition, 6 letters of support, and 5 phone calls supporting the item that were unable to send a letter, 2 petitions with approximately 245 signatures in opposition to this item. Staff has also received 6 letters from the applicant in response to the opposition that has been received. We've also received 1 letter of opposition, a site plan, and then a map that has just been handed out prior to the meeting. This item has gone over the 20% threshold of property owners in number and area and will require a 4/5 vote by the Board of Supervisors to approve this rezone. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Thank you. I'll now open the public meeting. Is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? You have 2 minutes.
I'm Dan, this is Ellie. We're representing Bob and Bonnie Ringo and relocating their animal sanctuary from Oregon to Arizona. They've been in business, so to speak, for 30 years. They've never had a single incident to date. Their plan is they want to relocate here to retire. Their facility is an end-of-life facility for what remaining cats they do have. And when those cats pass, that's it. They're done. They don't breed cats. They don't require any more. I believe they're down to 11, 10?
11 large ones and 5 or 6 smaller ones, and then livestock as well as cows, horses, a few sheep, and then cattle, dogs.
Another one of the main points of their facility is they're not open to the public, and they do not want to be open to the public here either. I mean, the main goal is that they want to get closer to family.
We've heard a lot of concerns from the neighboring people that are there, concerns about children, wildlife, dogs, cattle, horses. The Ringos have all of these animals on their property. In the past 30 years since 95, or in the past 30 years and since their USDA permit that was approved in 95, they have never had one single incident. I know that Jonathan Kraft wrote in quite a damaging and slanderous letter about them, and he himself has had 6 different incidents, including one himself where he had to be life flighted off of his property. A lot of the people face safety concerns, and they were worried about the animals escaping. They've never had one escape. They have a triple gate system, which means an entry gate, their main facility, and a perimeter fence, all of which are more than adequately tall, over 14 feet, and large tigers can't jump over 8.
Yeah, 10 seconds. The main point is they want to get closer to the family as they retire and the cats die off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have any questions from the board of these people? Okay, have a seat and we'll start on the people who've signed up to speak. First one is Sandy Fellows. The next one will be Mary Shaw, so we can eliminate the time in between.
Ready? Most of the residents of Cedar Hills moved there to get away.
Name and address, please.
My name is Sandy Fellows, 11467 East Blue Dog Road in Kingman, Arizona.
Thank you.
Most of the residents of Cedar Hills moved there to get away from what commercial property brings to an area. Smaller lots, trash, crime, loss of peace and quiet, and loss of quality of life. This rezone will lower our property values because who wants to live next to cages of dangerous predators? I don't. Neither does anyone else in Cedar Hills because we got 240 signatures in 2 weeks from people who live in the immediate area and oppose this request. If I went to Lazy YU and Kingman, I could have 1,000 signatures. How many do you need? We can get them. The letter of recommendation submitted by the Ringos aren't from their current neighbors, and they aren't from people that will be affected by this rezone. They're just words on paper. The lady friend from Arkansas, Lynn Culver, states that this proposal should not bother me because I live 5 miles from the site. This is wrong. I live on Blue Dog Road, 428.3 yards, or 2 minutes from the subject site. And this proposal bothers me very much. One of the nicest perks of living in Cedar Hills is the wildlife. We have deer, javelina, badgers, bobcats, mountain lions, quail, hawks, eagles. This is their home too, before it was our home. Bringing in non-native predators will have an adverse effect on our own native predators and wildlife. This supposed rescue sanctuary appears to be another Tiger King operation. There is no way these animals can be happy living the majority of their lives in cages. I'm very disappointed that more thought was not put into the impact this type of facility would have on families, livestock, and native wildlife in our area. Thank you for hearing me. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mary Shaw. And next up will be William DeFreitas.
My name is Marty Shaw. I live at 11388 East Blue Dog Road. I live 429 yards from the proposed rezone. We live in a rural area for a reason. We're fine not having the amenities of town life. We don't want a piece of commercial property in the middle of our rural agricultural community. If rezoned, this property would never go back to its current rural agricultural status, and who knows what it would become in the future if it was sold. As to the proposed rezone for this property, housing exotic predators in our neighborhood would definitely affect our quality of life. The Ringos say they've never had a cat escape. I applaud that. However, I'm not willing to risk the lives of my children, grandchildren, friends and neighbors, or our animals on that possibility. The things that our grandchildren do now on our property that boost their confidence and build their independence would now require supervision. How could we let them explore or turn them loose on horseback when there's a possibility that one of these predators could escape? The Ringos state that these animals will aid in expelling our natural predators. I'm not okay with that. I enjoy listening to the coyotes at night, and I appreciate the rodent control that they and the badgers and bobcat provide for us. What effect would their presence have on the rest of our wildlife? Will our deer, javelina, and rabbit population leave as well? I'm also concerned with the fact that the rezone permit says not open to the public, but in her letter to the county, Mrs. Ringo says our license to exhibit will be utilized in only select situations. So there is going to be some type of viewing. And just what does select mean? Once a year, once a month, twice a week? And how large groups are we talking about? A carload, a van load, a bus load? What impact will these have on our rural roads? We have no way of knowing. If, as stated in their meet and greet flyer, they need approval of their neighbors for this to move forward, then the answer is obvious. Our community has said rather loudly, no thank you. The wants of one family should not outweigh the wants of the rest of the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes,
What's the size of the property you live on?
20 acres.
Right, thank you.
William DeFreitas. And I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize. I tried it. It's not seem to be working. Jean Bishop.
Good morning. My name is Bill DeFreitas, residing at 11721 East Cox Road in Kingman, not far from the two ladies that just said what's on their mind. I agree, just to make a long story short, I agree with what they say wholeheartedly. I live here with my wife. We have a couple of horses, a couple of burros, dogs, cats, and we feel threatened by this. I think it's commendable that these people have not had problems with these lions or tigers getting loose. Let me ask you a question. What's to say a monsoon, and we all know what those can do, might take down a tree or a pole, have it bridge across one of those fences, and we got a 1,000-pound tiger roaming our neighborhood. Is it possible? Yes, it is. I would like you to please consider your decision very carefully, because I'm one of just about everybody I've talked to that agree that we don't need to have a tiger sanctuary in our backyard. There's one right up in Hackberry, I think it's called Keepers of the Wild, and that is, you know, the kind of environment where they should be, not in our backyard, not where our children play, where we have recreational facilities with our horses and other animals. And that pretty much sums it up. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Our next speaker is
Thank
Jean
you.
Bishop.
Can we also get Brian Wright to stand down to speak next? Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, honorable members of the commission. Thank you all for serving. My name is Jean Bishop. I'm Mohave County Supervisor for District 4, but I'm here today as a representative for the Cedar Hills community, of which I own property. I have a tiny cabin in the area, and I spend most weekends in the area enjoying the peace and the quiet. And I take my big, giant poodle puppies out there, and we just relax. And you know, with a job like I have, you can't get enough quiet time. So I'm here to appeal to your common sense and your good nature and ask you to please consider not allowing this rezone, whether it's for a wild sanctuary for tigers or any other kind of commercial change in the zoning for this property. Let's keep it residential where all of these neighbors can enjoy each other's company. And as you see today, the neighbors are a close-knit group, and I'm proud to be one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Wright. And next in line is Jan Sidwell.
Good morning. My name is Brian Wright. My wife and I just bought property. It's at Parcel 1025. It's right behind 939 South Lode Road. We bought this property, 40 acres, with the idea that it would stay zoned as it is. We didn't come in with somebody wanting to change it. I've also just done a little research on these people. They have been turned down for this same proposition to other states, other counties. They have been sued many times. I don't want tigers in my backyard. That's not what we signed up for. You know, we just bought land. I don't want to have to come in here and have that. And our property abuts their property. And we've got animals, and I don't want tigers there. And it's like I'm a direct neighbor to that. I don't want that. So, I mean, do you want them to be your neighbors? That's what I want to ask you guys. Would you want them to have the lions and tigers in your backyard? Because they'll be in my backyard. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How close, I didn't understand where you said your property is.
I am right on their fence line.
On their fence line.
And I'm going to be building my house right by that fence line.
40-acre parcel you're on.
Yes, sir.
now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jan Sidwell. And next up is John Culp.
Good morning, my name is Jan Sidwell. I'm a 35-year owner and taxpayer in the Cedar Hills area. I've been a realtor and I specialized in land sales in Cedar Hills. My neighbors knew me as a Cedar Hills landlady. People have invested in our rural area. There have been numerous new homes and it is still open range. The local rancher still runs cattle throughout the area. Our roads are not maintained except at the locals' energy and expense and will impact residential access should this be rezoned to commercial. I'm strongly opposed to this rezone. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Thank you. John Culp. And next up will be Richard Brill.
Morning, my name is John Culp at 9800 East Dubois, basically across the freeway, but I'm here in support of my neighbors. I've recent to this area 2 years, and we like what we have here. The commercial zoning might be a slippery slope in the long run. Don't know that. Don't know enough details about these people, but big cats are predators. And we have horses, dogs, and of course we enjoy our wildlife also. So, thank you. I'm opposed to it. I'm in support of my neighbors.
Thank you. Richard Brill. Next up is Gary. No last name.
Thank you for listening to us today.
I need your name and your address.
Richard W. Brill Jr., 11104 East Blue Dog Road. And I'm a land butter. It's right next to me. My patio is... My patio is about 500 feet from this property. I have my grandkids out there. I walk out there. I've been there over 30 years. And I just don't want to see this happen. I won't feel safe. I won't feel comfortable. So please, please leave it alone. There's plenty of land out there in the rural area, further out where they could go, and there won't be a problem. But it's not a place to be right there in our residential, our little community, where we ride horses, dogs, kids. This is not right. We didn't move here for that. Like I said, I've been here 30 years. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard Brill. And next up, no, that was Richard Brill. This is Gary.
My name is Gary Gear. I own parcel 354-18011. That is directly due south of this proposed project. We share the property line. I've already had enough traffic problems. When there's an accident on I-40 and 93, everyone tries to take the GPS on a back road. They have cut my fence already. They've driven through my property. They've let my animals loose. This is only going to make it worse. It's bad enough already. I don't want this commercial. I don't want this anywhere near me. There's a million reasons not to do it. Do it, just not here. Thank you.
Thank you. This looks like Melissa Bear. And next up will be Jesse Long.
Good morning, it's Melissa Gear. I'm also 354-18011. We share the same property line. As you have heard some of the concerns, I also am very concerned about the zoning and the long-term effects of what the zoning, the rezoning could cause. If they sell, if they move, if whatever the parameters or opportunity might lend itself right in the middle of the residential zone. So that's causes a lot of concern. I'm also concerned about the natural habitat and nature. You've also heard about that. We have a lot of domestic animals ourselves. Now that changes the dynamic in which we have to care for our own animals. I also would like to mention the fact that the noise level is going to be significant. Tiger roar is 114 decibels, which is 25 times the sound of a lawnmower, and that's one. They also can be heard 2 to 5 miles away. So not only does it upset just the whole demographic and area, and upset the habitat and how the natural animals are going to respond to that, but now we're talking about noise levels that are going to cause issues with our domestic animals, and it's going to have a significant impact in that piece. We're going to lose a lot of the peace that goes with that. So thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Jesse Long, and next up is R.G. Bishop.
Hello, I'm Jessie Long. I'm also at the parcel directly south 354-18011. And you all have been given a map, I believe, that was distributed earlier. This first page is the Ringo's layout of their property, and basically shows their road where they're planning to put their cages. And it's got the directional arrows. I don't know where those came from, but I've corrected it with the clouded ones. So if you go to the next page, I've overlain the Ringo's map on top of their property lines. This is from the Mohave County website. And you can see on the left side is the hatched area with their 10-foot tall compound, which is placed directly over the Four Corners pipeline easement. Now, I also have 2 pipeline easements running through my property, so I know that this is something that the pipeline folks are not going to be happy about. If they have to come in and do some work on their pipeline, which they just did on one of ours a few weeks ago, it was 2 weeks of bulldozers out there and, you know, digging up a pipe that was messed up. What's going to happen to these tigers? Are we going to move them somewhere else while they work on the pipe if something happens there? And in my opinion, attention to detail, and I'm sure you would all agree, is paramount when you're dealing with predatory animals. The fact that the detail has somewhat been passed by when laying out their property map, as well as even their directional arrows on their own map that they drew to present how they were going to lay out their property, is alarming to me. The other point that I wanted to make was, I noted that I guess my time is up.
R.G. Bishop, and the next up is Steve Bowden.
My name is Remington Gene Bishop, and I have already submitted for the record. I live at 251 North Friendship Pass in Kingman, Arizona, and I have about 50 acres. I already submitted a legal document showing all of the state and requirements and permits and things that are required to even transport an animal through the county or through the state, and that should be in your record package. Today, I'm going to try to avoid restating things that have already been stated, but I have a few questions that need to be addressed in the final record and decision. This property and most everything around it, single-family homes, single-family dwellings. How is this commercial overlay going to affect them, and how does it affect the property taxes and in the rest of the community? They're requesting a minimum 36-acre commercial overlay. What happens to the other 4 acres on their property? They have 40 acres. I don't understand that. I don't understand what that does. No commercial roads in the area. As a matter of fact, almost none of the roads in our area are maintained on a regular basis, even a tertiary basis. Who pays to install and maintain roads to and from a commercial property to meet the county maintenance requirements? And who in Mohave County will ensure that all the engineering, construction, maintenance requirements are met in accordance with all those laws and rules that I put up earlier, and be responsible for ensuring all those rules are maintained? And who is at the county level, or is that a state level requirement? Someone needs to decide and accept responsibility for that and let us know. Who in the county will ensure the safety and security measures, see the attached, that will be before any animal are even allowed to be transported to the property, before they can bring the first animal in? All of those permits and all those regulations, all those requirements for construction and engineering have to be met. Who will be in the county will be responsible for noise and night sky lighting? I'm done, thanks. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Steve Bowden, and next up will be Brenda Miller.
Morning. My name is Steve Bowden. I live at 11107 East Blue Dog Road. I border north of their property. And I give you a map. I don't know if they handed them out to you. I don't know if you can see this. But basically, I drove around our neighborhood, and you can see that this property is surrounded by homes. And if somebody went out there and bought this, this is what you would see is just a bunch of homes. And the people that sold the property, the reason they sold this property is because it was too populated of an area for them. That was their reason for selling the property. I border about 330 feet with them to the north. My home is about 300 feet from their front door. My home is about 150 feet off the road, as is theirs. And the noise level of this and the stench that's going to be coming from this, I'm going to hear it all day, every day, 24 hours a day. And then the other item I want to say is we are watching a program called Neighborhood Wars. I don't know if you've seen it, if you can Google it. But they have this episode where this guy was living in a neighborhood who had bought a tiger from some breeder, and the tiger got loose in the neighborhood. And my point being, at the end of this program, they had said that since 1990, 20 people have been killed by big cats. Over 300 people have been mauled by big cats. I don't want to be on that list. This is not an isolated area. This area is filled with homes. If there's any questions, I've been living there 22 years. I know the area well.
Thank you. Brenda Miller. And next up will be, it looks like Pam or Dan Kling.
Hello, my name is Brittany Miller. I live at 11280 East Blue Dog Road. My property abuts their property. I'm right next door to the east of them. I'm very concerned for the whole neighborhood, my animals, and the children that are there, that are out there on four-wheelers on a regular basis. We have a very quiet community. I've been there for over 30 years. I've had no incidents with any of my neighbors. We've all been very cordial, very caring for each other's privacy and their safety. In this request for commercial property, it says that commercial property to be changed from residential to commercial needs to benefit the community. I don't see a benefit. I honestly don't see a benefit. We live on dirt roads that are very poorly maintained, and I'm just very, very concerned. I know that my animals will never be happy. I have horses and llamas and peacocks and dogs and cats, chickens and guineas. All of this is prey food for these animals to eat. How are they ever going to feel safe? I don't understand that. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your consideration. And I'm very, very concerned. You ladies all have, and gentlemen all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dan, is it Dan or Pam Kling? It spells C-L-A-I-G, it looks like.
Your handwriting needs to improve.
Okay, Eli Ringo.
Kelly.
Okay. So you're representing the owner? Yes. Lauren, oh my goodness. Kristen, I think? There we go. Next up will be Mark Sipple.
Good morning, and thank you for the few minutes that I'll have. My name is Lauren Christensen. I reside at 10180 East Line Drive. It is approximately, it's a 40-acre parcel, and it's approximately 1.75 miles west of the proposed site. I am in opposition to the exotic animals being moved out there, as well as a rezoning to commercial for the following reasons. First off, for the animals, I feel that safety is going to be the big concern. Not safety for my fellow neighbors, but for my family, my wife, my grandchildren, my children, anyone we have out there. I understand that they have not had a single incident of escape, and I too believe that that's a great thing, but that does not mean it cannot happen, and I would hate to see any results that may happen from that. Also, I have concern for the native wildlife out there. As it's been stated, you know, most of us enjoy the native wildlife out there. We coexist with it. These exotics are not native. I believe it will have a negative impact to the native wildlife. Also, the roadways would be a concern. More than likely, it's going to, if it's rezoned commercial, I'm sure there's going to be more traffic. It's been stated that they may not have any people out there for open to the public, but that doesn't say that they're not going to. The roads out there, they're more than likely going to come down Silver Dollar to Line Drive and go east on Line Drive. That road is taken care of by the county about every 6 weeks, but it's usually beat up within the first 3 or 4 days. So any more big trucks or anything going up and down that road would have a negative impact. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mark Sipple. And next up will be Hal Burton.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Mark Sipple. I personally live at 1948 East Lucille, downtown here. I have an office in downtown at 707 East Beale. I'm here privately as a citizen. I am not here as a hired gunslinger. There are 3 compelling reasons that this commission should deny this application. First, not these people. Second, this is not the time for this. And third, not the place. And you're hearing all about not the place. Let's talk about these people. It's an application made by a Robert and Bonnie Ringo personally, and not as the defunct Tiger Preservation Center. Public records show personal ownership with $20,000 down and $300,000 piece of property. It's not a 501c3 residence. And they even admit that the donors personally don't live in this county. The letter talks about relocation of the Tiger Preservation Center, which is in non-existence. It's defunct. There was an Oregon dissolution in 2019 by the very same lawyer who wrote a letter approving or trying to assert influence over Mohave County. There is no history to support the 40 years. There's no succession planning. Retirement. Oh, that's the magic word. Retirement. What is going to happen? No will, no trust, no beneficiaries, no successor trustees. This is their own personal, private mecca at the expense of everyone here. This is not the place. Why not was this in Yucca, beyond in the wilderness? Why wasn't this in the Strip? Why wasn't this in a lot of other areas where they, for the same money, they could have bought a whole lot more property to protect the people? Thank you.
Thank you. Hal Martin. And Wilkie is up yet next.
Hal Barton, 9466 East Glassbar Way, out there in Cedar Hills. My wife and I are approximately about 6-7 miles south as Eagle flies. However, members of our church do live directly in the vicinity. And I'm here actually as also a former Mohave County planner. I've sat right there quite a few meetings, and first and most part, this is just bad planning. This is what you call spot zoning. Don't do it. And the current zoning that is out there, staff goes through a lot of effort to the commission as well as to the board then to approve zoning. And the zoning laws that are out there are good as the way they are. This is, again, it's called spot zoning. It also is not, in my analysis, in compliance with the general plan, Mohave County general plan, of which my name is throughout it. that it just is not in compliance with it. I can tell you, members of the commission, that back in 2014, Keepers of the Wild came to the county with an application for a zone change general plan amendment to be located out in North Golden Valley. They were so far out there that they had to take staff, us out there, to show where the property was. That's where it really should be. It shouldn't be close to the residents that are this concerned. And finally, what I'd like to recommend is that this is a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, of which it will be the final decision by the board. But thank you so very much for the time, and have a great day.
Thank you. Wilkie, and next up will be Anna Centora, something like that.
Hi, my name is Donna Wilkie. I live at 905 North Summerson Road in Cedar Hills. And I just want to say that the town of Kingman has forgotten about Cedar Hills. They don't care about Cedar Hills. Okay? We have to grade our own roads, we have to put our own mailboxes up. To come into the 21st century, okay, we are a community. We do things for the community. We're retired. They want to come here and retire? Well, we've already come here and retired. And we don't want that. What about the proving grounds? Why don't they go somewhere where it's not a community? If you don't recognize Cedar Hills as a community, the people of Cedar Hills, we recognize it as a community. We have made it a neighborhood, and we are all very close in Cedar Hills. And I don't want to repeat everything that's already been said, because I agree with it wholeheartedly. But now all of a sudden, the town wants to do something in Cedar Hills? You want to make it commercial? We don't even get our roads graded. We don't get mailboxes. We have to do that ourselves as a community. Kingman doesn't care squat for us. Why they want to put this here in Kingman, I have no idea. Go to the proving grounds. There's plenty of land that is not in a community. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. You're good. Anna Soltanova.
Chairman Gillette, just as a point of order, I'd ask that the audience keep their applause to themselves so that we can move along.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Anna Sultanova. I live 10972 East Highway 93, and I came here to say that it is not just dangerous for people. It is not the matter of rezoning, of growing, or whatever, changing tax properties. Nobody is saying about tigers. It is irresponsible. I think that human factor happens always. No matter if 30 years they didn't have any incidents. Personally, I don't want to take a chance. And what I am saying, that if it happens, what happened to tigers? They will be killed. They will not be alive because people will protect their kids, their animals. They will be killed. So I think it is irresponsible to put animals, wild animals, in residential area. They need to be somewhere, like Keepers of the Wild. They are perfect place for them. And actually, if they do that, I will personally be donating to Keepers just to keep these tigers there for them, for animals. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call Eli Ringo, the two of you, back up to the podium.
Ellie, stupid.
I have several questions.
Okay, I have one more person. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, my first question is, have you considered the weather?
Here in Arizona, yes, I've lived in Arizona for 8 years.
So you're aware that it gets very hot in the summer?
Yes, very.
Yes, we're Lake Havasu residents.
Okay, so have you made accommodations for the animals to be cool?
Yes,
Oh,
there
yeah.
will be mister systems that are set up on their cages and which will be put through to the state of Arizona when they actually go in to examine the property and walk the property with the Ringos in order to set up their caging plan. The plan that was submitted was tentative based on the state. They have to get a state permit on the property once it's rezoned, and they have to approve actual cages and any transportation of animals.
What size are the cages?
Depending on the animal, most cages are about 40 by 80.
Also, it said, someone said something about you were going to have events every now and then. Is that people in groups coming?
No, so they own or they have a USDA license that is an exhibitor's permit. So what that means is every now and then, like once a year, they'll get a hold of a school and see if a school wants to have an educational tour for a specific age group of kids. They haven't done this in years. It's literally a yearly event where they will call a school and ask them if they want an event so that they uphold their exhibitor's license and it's in good standing. But they have a USDA permit, and that's been in good standing since '95.
Then someone else said something about the smell.
For the 38 years that I have been around exotic animals, they don't really have a smell. I mean, they're kept up. You get a USDA inspector, comes out at any given time without warning, and they inspect your cages, your meat facility, any of the tiger scat. If it even remotely smells anything like urine or feces, they get a write-up, and that write-up is made public. And
That would
so,
also be an incident, too.
yeah, that would also be considered an exotic animal incident that would violate part of their permit.
An incident is literally anything. A bite, somebody's scratch, obviously an escape would be a huge incident, but an incident is literally anything.
Yeah,
is
that
an
would go
incident.
against their permit. So then they've never had those.
Thank you. Any of the commissioners have a question? Alexander? No, that's Martin.
How many employees?
They don't have employees. They have one volunteer, and then they have themselves.
If they got sick or, I mean,
They have occasionally, if they have gotten sick, their daughter also lives on the property, and she helps out, but only when the Ringos absolutely need it. Otherwise, they do have their volunteer. I think that their goal was to hopefully hire somebody to do yard work and then take care of the farm stock that they have, but not the exotic animals.
Oh, somebody mentioned a succession plan. There is definitely a succession plan because I wrote the majority of it 2 years ago for them.
Yeah, the succession plan, if anything was to happen to the Ringos, their cats would go to,
The place in Camp Verde.
out of Africa. They've already said that they would take on the animals should anything happen to the Ringos, meaning if they passed on. That's where their cats would be donated to.
I think the longest living cats were 5 years.
Maybe.
They're at the very end of the road with
Their kitties.
having cats.
You had a question though, ma'am?
Alexander?
What about veterinary care?
Thank you.
Are there veterinarians in this area that are capable of handling exotic animals?
There are 2 veterinarians in Las Vegas that are capable of handling. They also have vets on call, such as Lindsay Phillips, who was the director at UC Davis. They have their veterinarian, who is their primary vet in Lodi, California, and he often will do farm calls. They usually fly him out if necessary, or they will take their animals in a large van that is encaged and protected to their vets. And they're very specialized exotic animal vets. They don't want anybody to sedate their animals or give their animals that they don't know anything about. And so having an exotic animal vet is a very rare thing. But being how there are a lot of exotic animals in Las Vegas, there are 2 vets that they have been speaking with. I don't remember their names offhand, but I know that the Ringos could get you their information.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kelly?
Thank you. So this commission, what we do is we make recommendations based on zoning requests for rezoning and zoning. We submit it to the Board of Supervisors for their determination. And in looking at the surrounding map, surrounding this property, I see all AR10 and AR8A properties. So Mr. Barton was correct when he said you're asking for a spot zoning. And for me, it doesn't make any sense because you're asking for a commercial zoning in the middle of an AR zoning area. So I think that would be the crux of this. It's not so much the nuts and bolts of it. Excuse me, the nuts and bolts would all have to be finalized by the different commissions that surround this request, but to spot zone something like this when the community is highly alerted to it, for me, just wouldn't make sense.
Madam Chair?
Sorry. Yes.
Just a form of clarification. Staff does not believe that this would be spot zoning. Our CRE zone is designated to essentially be allowed in rural areas for these types of uses. And we have used the CRE zone for items like this in the past.
Thank you. I have one more question. If they have arrangements made for someone to take these cats when they die, and they want to retire, why are they not doing that now? Oh, please don't.
This is a forever home for these cats. Most of these cats were rescued from places like zoos, private animals, or private owners that got them thinking they were going to have a tiger as a pet. And so they've come to love the Ringos. To be very honest, they're not like a pet, but they do have an emotional attachment to them. So it would be like asking somebody to give up your 14-year-old dog before it dies.
Thank you.
Also, a lot of them won't incorporate very well into other facilities. You can't just take a tiger and, here, go hang out with these group of 10 other tigers. It just doesn't work that way.
They do get depressed.
I understand. Are there any other questions?
Yes.
Martin? Commissioner Martin?
So why this particular area and not someplace that was more remote with no residential residences around it?
For two reasons, or a couple actually. One of them being they do need to be close to a town. They like to be close to facilities so that it makes it easier to get the cats food. The sanctuary actually has a program with the Walmarts. They have it's a certificate that they get their day-old meat. It goes into tubs, so the closer they are to those facilities, the easier it is. And two, it's very difficult to live off-grid with these cats. You need to have a proper amount of electricity. You have to have the proper amount of security for them, and with that takes a significant amount of electricity. Living off-grid is an extremely difficult thing for them.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Chairperson Gillette, I have another representative for the Ringos on Teams that would like to speak.
Okay.
Hold on just a moment so we can unmute them.
Their heart's beating. We can just get them to speak.
I'm still waiting to speak.
Can the IT room unmute?
He won't make it.
Some Jeopardy music.
There we go. There we go.
There he is.
Got your video.
Technical difficulties, but I am still waiting to
Settle down.
Okay, so you should be able to talk now.
You are set to speak to the group.
Who is being addressed?
That is you, sir.
That is you.
I'm very sorry. My name is James Bugle.
Did you hear him?
Speak up. For quite some time. There's a lot of feedback that makes it almost impossible for me to hear what's going on. Excuse me. We have seen in the past that there are entities that are involved in the exotic animal shelter area that are extremely protective of what they feel are their local territories and so forth and so on, and coming forward and saying an awful lot of things that aren't true. And so we put some of that in the record as to what's going on here with that. But I think the important thing here is this is a 40-acre parcel. It is not an area designated in the plan as designated residential. If you look on a Google map, you'll see all sorts of businesses out there. I'm not sure that all of them are zoned commercial, but there are businesses out there. There's no particular need for a permanent change other than an artifact of the code. You know, we would have been willing to go forward under a kennel permit or something like that. This seemed like the easiest way to do it. It's just a retired couple that wants to go out there with animals, most of which are incredibly old, do the minimum necessary with exhibition to keep their permits going. You know, these animals are, an aged, sick tiger is, considerably less dangerous than a bull. There was talk about noise. I think if you do a Google search, you'll find that roosters can crow from 130 to 143 decibels, even louder than tigers, as it turns out, at least according to Newsweek. And so these aren't out of character for other large animals that people maintain. They just have gotten a lot of bad press because of things like Netflix and the Tiger King and so forth and so on. And so, there are good reasons that the Ringos have centered in on this thing with respect to who owns the property. Yes, they own the property. They would lease it to the center. The center is a nonprofit. The center is in existence. You can go to the Nevada Secretary of State website and see that it's there. It's a real nonprofit. They are in compliance with a lot of highly technical regulations of all sorts that really should address the community's fears. And I think that it's been irresponsible for people to go out there and whip up a state of fear based on animals that aren't going to be significantly more dangerous than an escaped bull or something.
Sir?
Yeah.
We have a 2-minute limit, and you are over that. So I thank you very much for speaking to us. We appreciate it. I have one more person. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more person that would like to speak. Her name is Kelly Laughlin. Oh, it's a her. I mean a him.
So anyway,
Name and address.
my name's Kelly Laughlin. I'm from 11060 East Line Drive, and I've never done anything like this. I've been here for a couple of years almost now, and been a lot of courts, but nothing like this. But I'm representing my neighborhood, and whatever they decided, I back it. Either way, I'll back it any way they want to do it. So that's all I got to say.
So you live in the neighborhood?
Yes, I do.
And you don't object to the tigers?
I object to it, yes. I object to it. I got a little Jack Russell and I got a pit bull, and I keep them fenced in, and I worry about other animals getting to them all the time.
Okay.
So, yes, I'm against it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. Thank you for inviting me, everybody.
The next person is Lane Santana. Laney.
I object because there's free-range cows, and what if one of the tigers escapes and gets to the cows? And it's very dangerous. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Please do not clap. Are there any other people wishing to speak on this subject? Hearing none. Did you sign a slip?
Well, my wife had already done it, so
And you're just going to say the same thing your wife said?
Nope.
Okay, come on down.
You're smart.
Bet you're gonna sleep outside tonight?
State your name and your address.
My name is Wayne Wilkie, 905 North Summerson Road, Kingman, Arizona. And it's probably about a mile or a mile and a half from this proposed site that they want to put up. But my question is, they said they're going to have the sprinkler system or mist system and everything, and that's going to be, I don't know if they have a well on their land or not, but you know, it's going to be taking more water out, because I'm sure they use a lot of water. All those animals use a lot of water, and it would just be, you know, there's no water service except for delivery unless you have a well and everything. And with the shortage of water right now, I really don't think, you know, having something in our neighborhood using up the aquifer water that we have would be proper for our area or anything like that. And I'm just worried about if they escape. Myself, I'd shoot them and kill them and eat them. You know? So, you know, that's my own opinion, and I just think that the county should refuse the
How's he gonna get home?
Change in our property and everything.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you very much.
Very good.
At this time, I'm going to close the public hearing. Do the commissioners have any questions or comments at this time?
I have a statement to make, and it was based on one of the people who had spoke earlier. They made a comment that Kingman or the county doesn't care about your community and that we shouldn't be putting that in there. That's not the case at all. This is step one of a process. What we do here today is a recommendation that goes to the Board of Supervisors. So going forward, no matter how this vote transpires, if you like it, if you don't like it, my recommendation is to go to the Board of Supervisors to follow through with this. What is said today is not final. We are here doing a job, taking a recommendation from staff. So it's not that the county wants to put it there. It's not that the county doesn't care. It's not that we don't care. We're just doing a job and recommending to our Board of Supervisors. So please keep that in mind during this. This is step one. It's not going to end here today. Okay?
Staff makes the decision.
No.
Thank you.
Board of Supervisors.
Cannot be talking to the audience.
I didn't know that. My bad.
Okay, any other statements or questions? Hearing none, then I call for a motion.
I make a motion to deny the request.
A second? I have a motion on the floor to deny the request and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Now, you people
Now
can't
we will
leave.
move on to our regular,
The whole meeting.
Number one. Or,
we move on to order.
Him.
We'll move on to our regular schedule. Back to item 1. Alexander Bolin.
As a point of order, Chairman Gillette, I just asked that the audience, those who are leaving, if they could do so quietly so the business of the commission could continue.
Please leave quietly so that we can continue our business.
In other words, shovel.
Mr. Bolin?
Shit, they keep
anybody left in the auditorium?
Alexandra, please read item 1.
Item 1 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of Assessor's parcel number 404-24044 from an AR agricultural residential zone to a CRE commercial recreation zone to allow for an RV park and off-road tours in the cane beds vicinity. Staff has received 17 letters of opposition. This item does require a 4/5 vote for approval by the Board of Supervisors. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Is the applicant available? Are there any other
This
wishes?
applicant is available. Just one moment.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can, sir.
Thank you. So I'd like to hear from anybody so that I can address kind of concerns as they come. I'd like to follow up at the end if that's all right.
Else speaking on this item?
Well, I guess I will start then. I've went through all 17 letters, and I've got to say, my name's Kerry Berner. To start off, I own the parcel 404-24044. I'd like to thank all the neighbors for taking the time to send letters of concern, and I'm really happy to see that everybody's concern kind of came to the same thing of the safety and well-being of our future generation. I as well actually have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and we will be operating this RV park and tour business actually at the back of the property. There is a way that we can do that with this type of zoning, and we've actually got a trailer on septic with a well as well. Another concern I think a lot of the people have had is the amount of noise that could happen from this and the increase in traffic. There's Coral Pink Sand Dunes is just down the road, not too far from here. And a lot of people travel this road to and from those sand dunes. There's a bees marketplace that goes along this main road, and it is totally legal for people to operate a UTV on this road to and from the sand dunes already. There's a RV park or a RV place to stay in the Coral Pink State Park already that they've expanded 3 different times to try and meet the need for something like this. I realize that, when we're out there, we just see a lot of traffic and everything already and a lot of side-by-sides and UTVs using this area. So we bought this property and have already drilled our own well.
Your 2 minutes are up.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any others wishing to speak on this subject? Then I'll close the public hearing. Do the commissioners have any questions?
Yes. I would like to ask staff, is in the general plan, does it allow commercial on that road?
Chairman Gillette, Commissioner Barlow, the Mohave County General Plan does designate this site as a rural development area. But cane beds is also considered an outlying community. Typically, the county does not require plan amendments in those outlying communities.
Oh, thank you. I know this area very well, and I do feel this is the wrong place for that. This is, there's no commercial anywhere around. This is out in the middle of the residential area. If this was near the highway, that would be great, but this is completely away from everything.
Thank you.
Question for the applicant.
Commissioner Mason.
Is the applicant still available?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yes.
How long ago did you purchase the property?
We've had the property over a year now.
And when you purchased it, you were aware that it's a residential neighborhood?
We were aware that there's residents in the area. We actually got along with before we purchased the property, there was a rezone to a commercial industrial that was proposed, and it was actually abandoned because they couldn't hit water. So it reverted back to the AR zone, is my understanding. And then we came in and purchased the property and drilled our own well, and we have an abundance of water on property now.
So why not pick an area where you would not be bothering the residents surrounding?
So this area that we've got there is 9.5 acres on the frontage to the road. I don't think we'll be bothering people as long as we obviously follow the guidelines that the county has for RV parks. I mean, there's RV parks in rural areas all over, almost in every surrounding area already. So I think it'd be a great fit. I mean, you're out there, you're watching RVs drive by all day long, and side-by-sides going to use this area all day long. And so it really speaks to the area as something that is needed.
Thank you.
One question.
Commissioner Meal?
How close is the closest, the fire department?
It's in Colorado City, actually. That's a great question. I'm not exactly sure on the distance itself, but we've contacted them for requirements as how much water we'd have to hold on site, as well as providing water through via hydrant, just in case, you know, they need access to the water for any fires or anything like that.
Any other questions? Then I will call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny this application.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We'll move on to item number 2. And it is Scott Poultry.
Item number 2 is an evaluation of a request for amendment to the Mohave County General Plan and amendment to the Virgin River Communities Area Plan from neighborhood commercial and low-density residential land use designation to a suburban development area land use designation and a rezone from an AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR agricultural residential and an AR 4A agricultural residential 4-acre minimum lot size zone for Assessor's Parcels number 402-77007C to allow for a minor land division in the scenic vicinity, Mohave County, Arizona. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? I'll close the public hearing. Do the commissioners have any questions?
I believe this is a good fit for this area. There is commercial on Scenic Boulevard.
And the chair will call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve item 2 according to staff recommendation.
You have a second? Commissioner Jack seconds the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item number 3, Alexandra Bolin.
Item 3 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone for a portion of Assessor's Parcel number 402-42014 and 402-42015 from an AR agricultural residential zone to a C2H highway commercial zone to allow for an RV park, commercial amenities, and a billboard in the scenic vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Okay, open public hearing. Come to the podium.
Good morning, Honorable Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Tackett Hicks. I'm acting as the owner's agent. So the property south of this is being planned for an RV park. There was a change in this top area that I'm showing right now several months ago that took off the commercial rezone that was the same as that bottom. I did 3 or 4 months ago apply for a billboard in this area, which was approved. It did not have any opposition. Staff reviewed some of the circumstances and let me know that I needed to redo this rezone. So that's why I'm back. It is complementary, the proposal to the existing RV development that's being planned on the south. I just wanted to make that more muddy for you. If I can answer any questions, I'm happy to.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just as a qualifier, so that SUP for the billboard that went through this commission 4 months ago or something, that's going to be carried forward to the board meeting with this rezone request, so that they'll be able to both be addressed at that time. Thank you.
I'll close the public hearing. Any commissioners have any questions? The chair will now call for a motion.
Make a motion, we approve.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, so I'm supposed to say this. Commissioner Morse made the motion and Alexander. No, it wasn't Alexander. It is Martin.
Alexander.
Was it Alexander? Did you second? Okay. I have a motion made by Commissioner Morse, seconded by Commissioner Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Alexander.
Opposed?
Aye. I mean, forget it, whatever, it's a go, I'm good.
Motion is approved. And we move on to item number 4. I think we're getting giddy.
Item number 4 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for a portion of Assessor's parcel number 402-30026 to allow for a 100-foot tall freestanding sign in a C2H highway commercial zone in the Virgin River community vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
I open the public hearing.
The applicant?
Would you like to come up?
I would, thank you. Good morning again, Kathy Tackett Hicks, I'm the owner's agent. This is a site that was previously approved for the TA truck stop site up in Littlefield, and that project is moving forward full speed ahead. We've submitted the site plan for it, the drainage plans, we're doing the engineering, some of that's been submitted for the grading plan, the grading permit application's been made. This particular item, I didn't have my sign details until later, so I couldn't submit it at the same time as the other rezone, but this would allow for a higher sign than normal. It'll be on site. It's a pylon sign that goes up in this particular area of the freeway, and Commissioner Barlow probably knows, it's higher up, but then it does drop down just to the, I guess, the east of this. So they're wanting to, and there's a hill right here, so they're wanting to have the taller sign, obviously for a better visual vantage. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I just wanted you to know it's with a project that's being developed right now.
Any commissioners have any questions?
So the sign is for this business, not just a billboard?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not a billboard, it's specific. I think I did submit a sign face for it. It's for the business.
Okay, I close the public hearing.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Please notice that when you make a motion, add with standard conditions to that motion. I will call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve for staff recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Abbott, second by Commissioner Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item 4 is approved. We'll move on to item 5, Matthew Gunnarsson.
Item number 5 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of Assessor's parcel number 110-05052 from an AR8A agricultural residential 8-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for a minor land division in the Lake Havasu vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
I open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Close the public hearing. Any commissioners have any questions or comments? Call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve with standard conditions.
Second the motion.
I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jacks, seconded by Commissioner Alexander. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. Item 5 is approved. Item 6, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 6 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mohave County General Plan and an amendment to the Desert Hills Fire District Area Plan from a Rural Development Area Land Use Designation to a General Commercial and Low-Density Residential Land Use Designations, and a rezone from an AR 36A Agricultural Residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone to an RO Single-Family Residential Manufactured Homes Prohibited Zone and a C1 Neighborhood Commercial Zone for Assessor's Parcel Number 12007-003 to allow for a subdivision in the Havasu Heights vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
You know exactly where that is. Thank you. Open the public hearing. Is the applicant present?
Representing the ownership. Nothing to add, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Do we have any questions of this applicant? I happen to know exactly where this is. That's going to be beautiful.
Thank you.
I close the public, thank you. I close the public hearing. Does any commissioner have any questions or comments? Now call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept item 6 with staff recommendation.
Second
motion.
Whoever wants it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alexander, second by Commissioner Abbott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item 6 is, and we do have to add to our motions with standard conditions. Okay, item 7, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 7 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of Assessor's Parcel Number 120-23016 from an AR 36A Agricultural Residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR 9A Agricultural Residential 9-acre minimum lot size zone to bring the property into compliance in the Havasu Heights vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Open the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Does anyone wish to speak on this item? Close the public hearing. Does any commissioner have any questions or comments? Then I call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with standard conditions.
I have a motion. Anyone with a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Jacks, seconded by Commissioner Morris. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item 7 is approved. Item number 8, Scott Holtry.
Item 8 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mohave County General Plan from a medium-density residential land use designation to a general commercial land use designation and a rezone from an R1 single-family residential zone to a C2 general commercial zone for Assessor's Parcel Number 229-14145A to allow for multifamily housing in the Fort Mohave vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Thank you. Open the public hearing.
I have a question for staff. In this particular incident, what does multi-family housing, is it apartments, duplex, what?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Abbott, that would be a question probably for the applicant and what they're proposing. They presented to us an application to rezone for that use, but for the exact proposal, that would be a question for the applicant.
Well, how can you approve it or recommend it if you don't know what they're going to put on there? I just thought it's written a little different. I didn't understand it, so.
So, Madam Chair, just for your information, the C2 zone does allow for apartments, or would allow for duplexes or the
Or more.
quadplexes or any commercial dwelling. The C2 zone would allow for that.
That's good. I accept that answer. Thank you.
Any others wishing to speak on item number 8? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. I just want to say one thing. I do know that Havasu is having a tremendous problem trying to get housing for the workers in Havasu. And maybe this is an attempt to solve that problem.
But this is the Fort Mohave.
We're having the same problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
I'm aware of
Fort
it.
Mojave's having the same problem. Does any commissioner have any questions?
I'd like to make a statement.
Certainly.
Where this is going, there's basically the single family with acreage out there in this vicinity. It is.
Well, and adjacent to it, yes.
Yeah. That's all.
Okay. Did I close the public hearing? If I didn't, I closed the public hearing. The chair will now call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the rezone with the stipulation that it be limited to residential purposes, multifamily, whatnot, and not just general commercial for this particular location. I know very well where it is. And it's right at the edge of a heavy residential area, separated by a wide alley to highway frontage, and there's a school across the street. It fits residential, it would not fit general commercial. That's my motion, with the other conditions as standard.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Martin. I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Morse, second by Commissioner Martin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
So we have one opposed. The item has passed.
Chairman Gillette.
Yes.
I believe there were 2 opposition votes, just for clarification.
Okay.
And may I just clarify who those 2 are? Is it Commissioner Kelly and Commissioner Meal? Okay, thank you.
Kelly and Neal. Thank you. Item number 9 has been continued to the June 8th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. And we move on to item number 10, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 10 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for Assessor's parcel numbers 328-05-065 and 328-05-066 to allow for an RV park in an AR agricultural residential zone in the Dolan Springs vicinity. We received 2 letters of opposition for this item. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on?
Chairperson Gillette, we do have the applicant available via Teams.
Okay.
Is David or Michelle on the line? having technical difficulties if you want to go ahead and go forward.
Okay. Anybody wishing to speak on this item? I'm going to close the public hearing. Does any commissioner have any questions or statements? Then I will call for a motion.
I make a motion to approve for staff recommendation. I feel it's a good place for that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Abbott, second by Commissioner Jacks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We move to item number 11, Scott Holtry.
Item number 11 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of a portion of Assessor's parcel number 326-10129 from an AR 5A agricultural residential 5-acre minimum zone to an AR agricultural residential to allow for a minor land division in the Dolan Springs vicinity. The applicant is seeking to rezone the south half of the parcel to create 4 1.25 acre parcels. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
I'll open the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Are there any others that wish to speak on this? I will close the public hearing. Does any commissioner have any questions? I think I have a question. So they're dividing the one parcel into 4 parcels. Is that correct? Plus they will then have the other. So that makes 6 or 5.
5.
Can't even count. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, yeah, that's correct. The south half will be split into 4 equal parcels, and then the top half would remain I believe it's the 5A zoning that it currently has.
I would say that we need to keep an eye out for the parcel that's left to make sure that that isn't divided as well. Do any commissioners have any questions or comments? Then I call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second motion.
I'll make a motion we approve standard conditions.
Staff recommendations. There's no standard conditions here.
Yeah.
And I have a second by Commissioner Abbott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item number 12, staff report, Alexandra Bolin.
Item number 12 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of Assessor's parcel number 242-14014 from an AR 36A agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR 19A agricultural residential 19-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a minor land division in the Yucca vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing. Is the applicant present and wishes to speak? Are there any others that wish to speak on item number 12? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Do the commissioners have any questions or statements? Then I call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve item 12 with standard conditions.
Second the motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Jacks, second by Commissioner Alexander. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Item number 14, staff report by Alexander Bolin.
Item number 14 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of Assessor's parcel number 333-29072E from an AR 16A agricultural residential 16-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR 7A agricultural residential 7-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a minor land division in the Valley Vista vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Thank you. Open the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Is there anyone who wishes to speak on item number 14? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Does any commissioner have any statements or questions? I'll call for a motion.
I think that fits the area. I'll make a motion to approve for staff recommendations.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Abbott, second by Commissioner Martin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item number 15 has been postponed to the June the 8th, 22 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Item number 16, staff report by Scott Holtree.
Item number 16 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of Assessor's Parcel number 310135050 from an A General Zone, AR2A Agricultural Residential 2-acre minimum lot size zone, and an AR10A Agricultural Residential 10-acre minimum size zone to an AR Agricultural Residential zone to allow for a minor land division in the Kingman vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Thank you. I open the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Yes. Would you like to speak? You're available for questions? Any commissioners have any questions for this applicant? Then I'm going to close the public hearing. Any commissioner have any questions or comments? And then I will call for a motion.
Motion to approve item 16 according to staff recommendation.
I need a second. By Martin. I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Alexander, and a second by Commissioner Martin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item number 17, staff report by Alexander Brolin.
Item number 17 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mohave County General Plan from a suburban development area land use designation to a medium-density residential land use designation, an amendment to the North Kingman area plan from an agricultural residential land use designation to a single-family residential land use designation, and a rezone from an AR-10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an R2 medium-density residential zone for Assessor's Parcel number 310-21063 to allow for a residential subdivision in the Kingman vicinity. Staff has received one letter of concern. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Thank you. I open the public hearing. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning again, Honorable Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Tackett Hicks. I'm acting as the owner's agent. So this 3.3 acre parcel sits just north of another 3.5 acre parcel. Both of those are going to be developed for like patio style homes. This one will be processed, we intend to process it through a type 2 subdivision. Because it's less than 25 lots, the infrastructure is there. We won't be processing a preliminary plat, so we went right to the rezone to get your approval, and then we'll work on the final plat document. The one to the south is the same type of proposal for patio home type residential. It's connected with the Long Mountain area plan, or the Long Mountain development to the east, though. So it's just a parcel that's sitting there. So this piece will be complementary to the one to the south. And I don't know why I wanted to tell you that, but I really did. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Do you have any questions of the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any others wishing to speak on item number 17? And I close the public hearing. Does any commissioner have any questions or comments? Then I will call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve item 17 with standard conditions.
Second motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Jacks and a second by Commissioner Abbott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. We now are moving to item number 18. The monthly reports were sent via email. Are there any questions or comments? Do we have any commissioner comments?
I have a question for staff.
Commissioner Abbott?
I think I know the answer. If 200 people come in here with signed petition to speak, what do we do? Where's the limit?
Oh, that's a great question.
Chairman Gillette, Commissioner Abbott, we do require them, generally speaking, there is a little bit of leeway there, but we do require them, and the commission has required them to sign up. And so I understand that occasionally there are petitions that are sent in with numerous signatures on them, but generally most of those people aren't going to show up. However, we do have occasionally a large number of people who do show up, and if the auditorium cannot accommodate them, we'll make arrangements to keep people outside, set up televisions if necessary so that they can participate outside in the parking lot. Additionally, if we run into a situation like that, a motion could be made to continue the item to find a better venue to accommodate the issue.
I think he meant, do we have to listen to them all?
The answer to that question is yes.
Yes. I have, on several occasions, I have tried to par down the amount of speakers on a certain item, and it has not worked.
Yeah, one of it.
I know, it's hard.
Yes, I know, I remember.
When a lot of people show up and speak, it shows something very much. And I sometimes think, can't we just ask them, is there anything you're going to add that hasn't been talked about? Is that appropriate?
We have done that.
And Commissioner Abbott, we have done that with some degree of success, where we ask if there's anybody who has something new or really wants to talk, or if or asking if there's anybody who doesn't want to add anything, but just note that they raise their hand. We've done that where we ask them to raise their hand if all they want to say is ditto to what the last speaker said. And that streamlined the process a bit. But we have done that in situations where we have a large number of people who want to speak. And that's streamlined it a little bit, but because there's so many who want to speak anyway.
I guess that's one reason we're the commission, so hear that. Thank you.
Say whatever your wife
I do believe that most of the time we have a deputy sheriff here, just in case one of our large crowds gets too loud. Isn't that correct?
Tries to shoot up.
There's two here today, at least.
Okay, item number 20, call to the public. Is there anyone who wishes to speak?
Public here.
Hearing none, I will entertain a request for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn with standard conditions.
This meeting is adjourned. Great.